Happy Thursday, everybody. Watching you from, if you're watching online, whether it's the live show or the replay, I hope you guys are doing well. Checking in from Orlando, Florida, here at 7 o'clock, and I hope you guys are doing well. My screen seems like a little glitchy, so let me know in the comments below. Is your screen a little laggy? And I'll try to fix that along the way here. But I hope you're doing well. This Thanksgiving. We've got one more week until Thanksgiving here, and I'm kind of excited about it. We're going to be spending a little bit of time with some family and a little just kind of downtime next Wednesday. But as we start off every show, we want to know where you guys watching from in the world. Lets us know kind of who our audience is, what kind of content we should create, and obviously get to know you guys a little bit better. Everybody says, Stephanie says the screen is fine. And what's going on from Simpsonville, South Carolina? Good to see you as always, Stephanie. We've got a cool show. I'm going to go through a few different interesting stats around sort of our population growth overall here in Orlando. It's been really interesting to see not only people relocating here through COVID and then now beyond, but then the type and the demographic of what that looks like. I think it's really just kind of fascinating data to kind of go through. We're going to go through some real estate stuff, some new roads coming in, and a whole bunch of other things, a whole lot of other things, as well as your Q&A. We've got some people saying that it's looking just fine, but we have other people saying that it's a little bit laggy. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out what's going on there. What's going on from Kissimmee? We've got checking in the real Chris. Good to see you. Let's see. Slava checking in from Boston. Good to see you. Let me know about the screen from you there if you're all the way in Boston watching it. We've got JJ Hernandez checking in from Disney's backyard, Hunters Creek, Florida. Good to see you. Did you change your username, bro? Got it all this time. They're changing it up on me. We got NYC Iron, long time since we caught alive, checking in from Claremont. Good to see you. A whole bunch of other people starting to pour in here. So thank you guys so much. Keep letting us know down below where you guys are watching from, and let me know what your Thanksgiving plans are. Again, I'm going to go see some family and just kind of enjoy a few days of downtime. But before that, we've got a live show to hang out with you guys. So let's dive in to number one. So I saw this going across the internet like crazy today, and it kind of surprised me. I started going through a lot of different things to try to figure out where they got the data from. And so apparently the data came from the U.S. Census, the U.S. Census from 2024. And we got the St. Louis Fed and a whole bunch of other people. But this is sort of amazing to me. So population change across North America from 2005 to 2024. And obviously we're looking around the country here, and you see some places, Vancouver, 41% up, Seattle, 28% up, San Francisco, 12% up, Los Angeles, 1%, Detroit, down 2%. We've got New York up 6, Baltimore up 12, Washington, D.C. up 23. But two of these that just jumped out at me, Charlotte, North Carolina, 93% growth. That's massive in 20 years. And then Orlando, Florida, 53% in the past 20 years. And so as they start going through here, sort of looking at the data sets, so we basically went from 1.9 million for the Orlando Metro in July of 2005 to July of 2024, 2.9 million. So we gained an entire million people, which is a 53% change in population. Now, if you live here, you know that this is obviously, there's people everywhere. There's people that are, I feel like, still moving here from all over the world, but a lot of it from within Florida and other places in the country. And it's just kind of interesting to see. We're going to dive into a few other things. What's up, Alexa? Good to see you checking in from here. We've got RK checking in from Frankfurt, Germany. Good to see you. Let's see. Stacey said, "What's up, Ken? I made the I made a Arvin Haddad YouTube video. I know he did a whole reaction video on a Golden Oak home and apparently ripped it apart. I couldn't watch the whole thing. It was interesting to me. So sorry, Trace places it was lagging for a little bit, but it looks great now. I appreciate that. Hot Shot Warrior Robert checking in from Greenville, South Carolina. Love it. We got Andrew checking in from Apopka, a whole bunch of other people checking in. So continue to do so. That does mean a lot. All right. So we've gained 1 million people over the past 20 years, which is wild. You start seeing some of these other states and cities that have lost a lot of population: Chicago, LA, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore, sort of the things that you sort of you'd anticipate. But really, when you see the continued growth for Orlando, that's the kind of wild thing as well. And so this is where I originally got some of the data from. Somebody had posted it. This guy's a developer. And so I was like, a little bit skeptical on his data. But the more I dove in, the more it just started making a lot of sense. And so this is the interesting thing. So change in under 5 population in major metros. So this is kids basically like families were leaving certain places or having kids and staying. This is sort of the thing. So you look at Austin, Texas, number one, they had a 98% change in kids or people under 5 years old. Orlando had an 89% change from 2005 to 2024, same census data. So you had basically 97,000 more kids or people under 5 in that same time frame. And other areas like Raleigh and Charlotte and Dallas, the other areas that we saw massive growth in, obviously they follow right along. And so does this surprise you? Because I think a lot of people think Florida and they think Orlando, or maybe they think just Florida in general, and they think retirees, they think that sort of thing. And I interviewed Kelly Cohen last week, and we put that out. And one of the things that she said was that Orlando is a younger city. Like, we're just in general have a lot of younger population, a lot of people moving here, young families. And some people like were pressing her on that of how does that make sense? Well, the data would actually support that right on. And I just find it really interesting. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let's see. So Autumn says the problem is that most people are moving here are mostly poor. I mean, I don't know about that, especially with the average sales price, but interesting. So Stacey says, yeah, some of the stuff he says on what should be and shouldn't be in mansion seems super biased. Oh, you're talking about Arvin. The house was beautiful. Yeah, I think the house was absolutely beautiful as well. Tim Kane said, what's up? Long time, no time. Yeah, good to see you, man. All right. So when you think about, somebody mentioned people moving here aren't as wealthy, I guess. But if you look to me, this is 2025. I usually give these stats towards the end of the show, but I'm gonna give them now because I think it's interesting. You look at the average sales price currently in Orlando. This is the 5-county area for single-family homes. That's Lake, Orange, Osceola, Seminole counties. Average sales price is $529,000. The median price $440,000. And you look year over year. So this is 2025 data up through this week. Let's look at the same week last year. The median price was $457,000. So basically, the median price has dropped about 3.8% year over year, which is still quite a big number. You know, average sales price $532,000 last year at this time. Let's see, right currently it's $529,000. So it's dropped 0.5% on average. And so there's obviously different places in Orlando. Some of it has seen a massive drop, a massive 5-10%, sometimes 15% I've seen in some areas of Orlando. And then like especially Polk, Osceola counties, especially the Airbnb markets. But then other areas, they're pretty stable overall, which is interesting. Some other areas we definitely seen gone up 1 or 2%, but let me know. What you guys think about that? What do you take away? Jay says, you've made it if you're on Arvin's radar. Hey, I was just happy that my original video got more views than his new video. As long as it stays that way, then I think I'm going to be okay. It also talks about like, what you put out, you attract, because our original video was this Golden Oak, beautiful home. It's like just massive, gorgeous house in the Four Seasons section. And the builder walked me through, and all of the comments on our video were like super positive, or like, if I won the lottery, I'd buy that, or, oh my gosh, I love this part of the house or that part of the house. And then same house on his channel, which was all about, let me bash the mansion sort of thing. It was all like, oh yeah, how dare they pick that furniture and those countertops. And I'm just like, yeah. All right. It is an interesting kind of thing. Let's see. Checking in from Bella Collina. I'm not sure if you know this, but they released lots at the Hill that they bought, and they're almost sold out, $1 million per lot. Kind of wild. I didn't know that, but I do have a video coming up here. We're going to be going out and touring with a builder out there. RK says, how do I rate Groveland? I love Groveland. I think, again, for the reason that it's more affordable, not super far away because of the new road networks coming in. And I think you get a lot of house for your money. But one of the things I think is interesting, this came out of for Groveland today. This isn't like good news, unfortunately. This is kind of a bummer here, but Kroger is ending Florida home grocery delivery, closing the Groveland hub near Orlando, cutting 1,400 jobs. This came out this week. If you guys get Instacart or Kroger delivery, let me know in the comments below. But basically, for 5 years, after 5 years, Kroger's ending home delivery services for groceries in Florida, and they're going to be closing their service and laying off 1,400 people in January of this year. And so this is kind of came out in 2022, and instead of opening up new shops here in Orlando, new actual grocery stores, they were just doing home delivery, and they had a massive distribution center in Groveland, and then it was going up to Jacksonville, down to Tampa, and they were just driving out from everywhere. And apparently it's not a super profitable thing for them, and because of that, they are closing up shop and pulling out of Orlando, which leads me to wonder if you guys do get Kroger at home. And a lot of my friends do, a lot of my clients do. They tell me that the veggies are super good and crisp, and that they really enjoyed it, the overall service. But it's a super bummer. So the last home delivery service will be January 6th of 2026. And so what would you do? What's the alternative? Like I still go to Publix personally twice a week. So I don't know. I'm still like the guy that just enjoys picking his own apples and his own things like that. But let me know if is there another alternative that we should be looking at if this is the case. Jay says, Golden Oak branded a Disney storytelling community. I only asked because of the new community I see near Palm Springs. Yeah. Is Golden Oak a branded Disney story? No, it's not. So it's not storytelling, it's story living community. So different brand in general. It's got its own thing. For sure. All right, let's see. What else? All right, so we talked about a little population growth. We're talking about a little average sales price. Let's talk about IAAPA. So IAAPA is the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions. I popped in there for a very quick thing today just to sort of see. And so, but Jim, our writer there, has been on the ground all week talking about it. And so SeaWorld Orlando, Legoland, and Legoland are going to announce new rides at IAAPA Expo 2025. So SeaWorld Orlando, which by the way, I feel like SeaWorld Orlando is getting to be more and more like leading the way with really great roller coasters. If you haven't been lately, there's a ton of really good ones. But SeaWorld Orlando unveiled its vehicle SeaQuest Legends of the Deep Dark Ride on Tuesday, November 18th. The submersible style ride is going to move on a ceiling mounted rack and seats 4 to 5 riders and rotates 360 degrees. This is the same company that helped create Tron Light Cycle Run. It's going to be opening up in 2026, and it's going to take guests into a glowing undersea worlds filled with extraordinary creatures, sweeping environments, and powerful stories drawn to the heart of the ocean. I think this is really cool. Different rides, not just another roller coaster there, although they're having a fantastic ride, if you will, over at SeaWorld with how many roller coasters they're doing. And then Legoland, Florida, also announced on Wednesday that they're going to have Galacticoaster opening in 26. So this is a space-themed dark ride that's going to challenge pilots to destroy an asteroid of probable destruction with a starship that can customize with different nose cones, wings, tails, and color schemes. And the ride track is like 1,400 feet in length. If you've never been to IAAPA, by the way, so there's some photos here. I'll just kind of let scroll as we're going through and talking about it. But I went through today for the first time, and this thing is absolutely incredible. You walk through and it's kind of sensory overload. You've got like pinball machines next to horror, like you push a button and like, you know, stuff you would see in Halloween Horror Nights. And then over here, you've got people hanging from the ceiling, and then there's like fire going off. And then there's like in the background, there's a roller coaster flipping around. And it's the most wild thing I've ever seen at Orange County Convention Center. And it was so cool. I'm bummed that I didn't spend more time there. But if you've never been, it's open to the public. You can grab a ticket, or if you're part of the association or media, obviously they've got things going on. But it's a really cool thing to see, like all the little details that go into theme parks like SeaWorld and Disney and Universal, and all of those little things. From like, you think about, there has to be a company out there that creates lockers that you can tag with your little phone and then put in your bag. Like, it's not Universal that's creating those. It's like some other company. And IAAPA shows off all of those things, like the new technology. And so the idea is that they're showing off their newest, latest, and greatest. And it was just, gosh, such a really cool experience. So definitely going to try to set aside some time to go for a couple days next year. Mohammed says, what's going on from the amazing Orlando, Florida? Good to see you. So Benny family says, I don't live in either, but I did. Oh, so you're talking about Bella Collina. Let me get over here. My guy Ken, we got to connect on LinkedIn. My guy Craig Collins speaks highly of you. Craig's a legend. Sean says, glad to see SeaWorld is doing more than just thrill rides. Yeah, dude, I agree. All right. So Benny Family says, I guess back to the original question. Hey, Ken, I've got a question. How much Bella Collina has grown with everything happening around Mineola Town Center and everything happening in Claremont? Do you now start to see it as a real competitor with Isleworth or Lake Nona Golf and Country Club in the future? Um, yeah, I think Lake Nona Golf and Country and Isleworth are in a little bit more established areas. Mineola and everything coming to Claremont still going to be a good 5, 10, 15 years, probably 10 to 15 years before it's super established with a lot more going on over there. And then also the idea that like Lake Nona in general and Windermere in general, where both neighborhoods are located, are just more affluent in general. So it just takes a while for Montverde and some of the other things that are in the Bella Collina area to sort of level up in general. I think it could easily happen. Easily. You think about Lake Nona 10, 15 years ago, 5 years ago, average sales price wasn't nearly what it is today. And yet it takes time. But will it be a competitor? Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Kristen says, Jim is so talented. He really is our in-house writer. He's like this photojournalist. This guy is like absolute legend. These photos are so, so good. Look at this. I mean, like fountains, dance to music and displays, watering. I mean, there's like literally everything you think of. A selection of hyper-realistic Santa masks. They had food there. It was like so stinking cool. Who knew? I did a video today with Mark Tester. He's actually the executive director of the Orange County Convention Center, and we were talking about the economic impact that it has. There's like $5 billion of local economic impact in Orlando because of the convention center and everything that comes there. And I don't know if you guys knew, I found this out today. There's over 7 million square feet. It's like a city unto itself. And there's like thousands of people that work there. And there's only 4 days a year that there's not something going on, which like all of these things were surprising to me. The last thing that was like a huge takeaway was that there's actually more people going to Orange County Convention Center for events today than there was in 2019, meaning like pre-COVID, which also surprised me because we've also talked so often how like events are dead. He mentioned, he's like, think about, when industries are doing extremely well, like Bitcoin convention, right? When things are crazy like that, there's a lot of people that attend those events. And when that industry starts pulling back, less people go. And so go to events where you're like, oh, there used to be 10, 15, 20,000 people that go to this event. Now there's only 5. Events must be dead. And he's like, well, that's just wrong. He's like, the volleyball events, the youth sports, the Comic-Con, all of those kind of things are thriving and crushing it. So we did a long form. He showed us around. It was a really cool time. But so many cool things like that here in Orlando. RK says, do you think that builders of new construction homes will lower prices in 2026? Watching in a specific community and the builders not selling any homes in the past 6 weeks, it's in Groveland. Yeah, I think continually builders will have to offer incentives. Will they lower prices, base prices? Probably not. Will they give, in some areas they have, but for the majority, they try not to touch the base price. They will give you more incentives. And that's kind of where we come along. We're trying to negotiate for the builder on your behalf, but then also we're also privy to a lot of different builders that are working with us to let us know, like, here's our inventory, here's what we can and can't do in different neighborhoods. But they're giving discounts on lot premiums and upgrades throughout for the design center or closing cost incentives to buy down your rate. There's a lot of things going on that we can help you with that way. So will builders in 2026 offer more discounts? You don't know. National Association of Realtors came out today, and they believe that there's going to be 16% more home sales next year, causing prices to go up 1 or 2%. But locally, obviously, we'll see what happens. Marina says, any news on AP for Epic? Unfortunately, no. It sounds like they're going to try to increase overall attendance first and open up more availability for people to come in. And then who knows, once they figure that out and they have rides that are up all the time, hopefully they'll add on the AP for sure. Speaking of Epic though, so Universal Orlando Resort receives huge honors at 2025 THEA Awards. That's the Theme Park Entertainment Association. Or Themed Entertainment Association, I'm sorry, taking home 4 Outstanding Achievement Awards for its new theme park, Universal Epic Universe. So they won Outstanding Achievement for the overall theme park, for ride experiences, specifically Harry Potter and Battle at the Ministry, For outstanding achievement for attraction for Monsters Unchained, outstanding achievement for theme park land for How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Burke. And this is an international sort of thing. This isn't just like the best of Orlando. This is all of the different parks all over the country. So they got lots of clouts, lots of crazy stuff there this year. So yeah, it's KP. IAAPA looked insane. It was crazy. So crazy. Sean says Sawgrass Floating Road connection appears to be moving along. There was actually activity down there this past week. They started putting up construction signs. Yeah, dude, I talked about this last week. I actually talked to one of the HOA presidents that live in that like general area that was responsible for having the approval to let more people come up and down that road. And it sounds as though they have come to an agreement with the impact fees and all that kind of stuff to make that road happen. And so it's been in the works for, as you know, for a really long time. And so hopefully now that there's approval from all of those neighbors and Disney and everybody else in that area, that things will move forward. It looks like, you know, over the next 18 months to 2 years, things will be moving along, which is kind of cool. Speaking of impact fees and things kind of moving along, Apopka City Council seeks to raise impact fees on new homes by 42%, but new commercial projects would see the steepest hike. And so this is Growth Spotter. The commissioners voted unanimously for proposals to increase fees on new development that help fund police, fire, rescue, and recreation services in the city. Now, this is something that we get comments from all the time. People say, hey, slow down development, or hey, if we're going to have new development, make sure that we're paying for the roads, paying for the schools, paying for the expansion, right? And so builders and developers, for the most part, they're supposed to pay an impact fee. So they build a new development and say there's 100 new homes. They're typically paying, you know, $1,000 to $3,000 per home for an impact fee. So that means roads outside of the neighborhood. How does that affect police and fire? Just basically like, hey, because this new development is here, we have to pay for disturbing the force, if you will. And so one of the cities that was having some issues with keeping up with the growth was Apopka. And so this past week, it said that the commissioners basically voted. So there's going to be 42% on residential hike and 280% on non-commercial. And so you scroll down and they start talking through the differences of impact fees for the different cities. But there's basically going to go from, increase the fee from single family homes would increase to $3,500 from its current $2,500. And then on apartments, it's going to go up from $2,500 to $2,800. And then there's a bunch of different things for non-residential construction, meaning like office, retail, and that sort of thing. There's actually this whole breakdown, though. They did a really good job. So city of Altamont is, impact fee per... what's the highest? What's the highest cost? City of Mount Dora has the highest, or darn near it, 3,500. Apopka would be a little bit higher than that. City of Oviedo would be even higher than that. Palm Coast, Claremont is almost $5,000 for impact fees. And it goes to parks, fire, police, and roads. So yeah, so when you think about where is this going to go, by the way, it is going to most likely be passed on to the buyer. The developer is not just going to say like, oops, it cost me more, so now I'm going to just make less. They're probably going to pass these fees on. But if they are in these hyper growth areas, it makes sense that the city would want it, because if not, if they don't start collecting these impact fees, they're going to have to raise taxes on the people that already live there. And so they don't want that. So let's give it back to the developer and see what happens. Let's see. Happy Thanksgiving to you, digital portrait. Jordan asks, hey, how's your experience been with Toll Brothers? Is it normal for them to be this darn picky with inspections? They wouldn't let me inspect the attic. That's a little weird. Yeah, no, usually they wouldn't let you inspect an attic. I don't know any builder. I mean, if they're going to let you do a home inspection, they should let you in the attic. And so, I would chat with the on-site sales rep or somebody if we're not helping you. Chat with your team. Alex says, checking in from Welland Park here on the west side. Could use a great team like yours here, man. Yeah. Should we, or shouldn't we expand? That is always the question. All right. So this is one from the OBJ, Ryan Lynch over there, the OC and the Center for Neovation are located in the Osceola NeoCity campus. So St. Cloud approves change for 327-acre NeoCity South expansion. So NeoCity projects projects $50 billion of economic impact and 16,000 new jobs. Osceola purchased the property that they're currently rezoning for $17 million from D.R. Horton in 2024. And so if you guys don't know, NeoCity is this area right down off of the Turnpike, Neptune area over by Osceola Park, Osceola. Oh gosh, why am I blanking on this? Osceola. It's right over here. That's actually my next story. Osceola County. Oh, for the city, where everything, Osceola County Stadium. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Anyhow, NeoCity, the goal is that they're going to expand it. And not only are they going to they're not actually going to put houses there. So they're rezoning it from D.R. Horton, which would have been a residential makeup over there, and changing it to more office space and more places that they're going to have more, hopefully, semiconductor jobs. And so the mayor of St. Cloud is basically saying, hey, we're going to try to attract something that's non-tourism, non-hospitality, something that's a higher paying job in that area. You are literally from NeoCity, 10 minutes from downtown Kissimmee and about 10 minutes or 15 minutes away from Cross Perry and everything going on there. And so the city council has now approved to rezone a lot of the land that's around there to continue to move forward. Now, it is interesting. I mean, I do think that, hey, listen, tariffs and all the other kind of things that have happened over the past year aside, it does feel like NeoCity's sort of been a slow build, right? The stuff that's there is great, but it's, it's very small compared to what it could be. And so I'm excited to see, whether it's bigger investment in the area. I mean, $50 billion of economic impact once the site is fully built out, and hopefully an additional 16,000 jobs in that area, that will reshape that entire area over near Osceola Heritage Park and NeoCity. So if you're in that area, let me know. Are you excited about this? Is this something maybe you would want to work there? Should there be one of these jobs for you? Or do you think it's just like, hey, more cluster, more things going on in the area, more traffic? Don't like it. Either way, kind of curious. Let me know what you think. Number 2 in what? It's been growing in the past 20 years. Oh, you just tuned in, Maria. We're number 2 in overall growth and kids under 5 years old growth. Kind of wild. How do I rate Mattamy? I would say Mattamy is a solid mid-grade builder. They're not the absolute top tier. They're not entry level. They're solid mid-tier. I think what they're doing in Island Village, and this is the other thing with almost every builder in Orlando and probably all over the country, it's really neighborhood to neighborhood. You've got some of these production builders that are fantastic in other areas. They're not so great. And so you want to look at maybe some of their finished product or homes that are getting ready to be delivered and see what the fit and finish looks like. See what their included upgrades are. What is it that you're actually going to buy? Because if you go in the model home, 9 times out of 10, it's been more upgraded than what they offer basically, right? And so I think Mattamy in general, like I said, is what they're building in Celebration is actually pretty fantastic. I think they did a really good job. In other areas, they have to be value engineered, we call it, to keep up with pricing and where that's at. All right, so our friend Jim here, again, our writer, our in-house writer here at the Orlando Reel, Osceola County advances plan for new Orlando City soccer training facilities. And so Jim says, from baseball to soccer, the history of Osceola County Stadium dates back to 1985. My vintage, when the Houston Astros began using the facility for spring training, and then now up until 2019, and now it hosts Orlando City Soccer. It hosts the G League for Orlando Magic and a whole bunch of other ones. But they're going to be moving forward with more than 240,000 square feet of commercial space, hopefully adding 855 new jobs with a new expansion of $982 million dubbed Project Next that was submitted to Osceola County commissioners last year. And so that's going to develop a 200-acre property right by Osceola Heritage Park, right at the corner there. And so you think about, again, NeoCity, if you have NeoCity across the street, Osceola Heritage Park, and then Project Next, kind of that whole area, St. Cloud is all of a sudden really interesting. This is on top of Sunbridge up there. You got sort of a lot of other things happening off the toll road. So let me know. Is this a good thing, bad thing? What do you guys think? Kristen said, did it say which areas specifically are most densely populated by children under 5? It didn't. It said the Orlando Metro. So that's why you look at our average, or they call it 3 million people, but the city of Orlando, let's see, think the city of Orlando is actually only like less than 400,000 people. Yeah, so 2022 City of Orlando estimates was 316,000 people, but the metro is 2.9 million people, and so that's again the 5 county area we would call it. So Lake, Orange, Osceola, Seminole, Polk County, those 5 areas. What's going on, TH Kelly? Watching from Mineola. Slava says, I hope Brightline keeps expanding and opening up more stations there, in the area. Great way to commute around. I'm supposed to go there in a few weeks, use the Brightline down to Miami. I have continued to want to try. Every time I feel like I plan something, it gets canceled to use it. But I'm excited to try it myself. All right, let's keep going here. MCO, speaking of travel and trains and all the other kind of stuff, MCO has unveiled a new extension, another expansion, if you will, over to the gate link. So it's $253 million gate link replacement project. It's going to add new vehicles and upgraded power to control. So basically the trams back and forth from the main gates to the air side. And so it's going to basically go through complete refurbishment, and the same ones that were upgraded over on gates 70 through 129. It's the same ones. These are like really cool, new futuristic ones. I wonder if Buddy's still going to be, he has to be, right? For the next 2 years, still the voice of the tram. But then I'm curious, what do they do with the old trams? A friend of mine was like, hey, he's like, what if we could bid to grab one of the old trams and turn it into something? And that kind of blew me away, because I'm like, that would be a fun project. I don't have anywhere to put it, but yeah, that would be fun. Hold on, let's see. So there's a $5.9 billion upgrade to MCO, you guys. And this is, I think, again, when you start thinking about how many people come through MCO in general and how many people that will continue to, as the thing expands, be attracted to here. When we start to have more flights around the world, this is going to impact Orlando, I think, in a really big way, which is really cool. Let's see. I got to show you guys this. So this is, so speaking of, these trams for sale, here's another one. So have you guys seen that you can actually buy the Disney's Fort Wilderness Campground cabin? Like this is, let's see. Oh no, let's see. I got to find these things. You can actually literally buy them. So they're like $50,000. These guys were selling them. Here we go. Hey everybody, we've got an old Fort Wilderness cabin back in June of 2024 to make it our home. And so they basically turned it into like, it's essentially a mobile home, right? There's a guy over on the coast. You can still find these on Facebook Marketplace. If this is something that you want, Facebook or a old Fort Wilderness cabin as your home, grab a piece of land somewhere in Central Florida, put one of these on there. They range. They were $50,000. I think I saw the last one. He still has a bunch of them for sale for roughly $70,000, which is probably more expensive than a typical mobile home would be, but it's a little bit of nostalgia there. So I'm curious, would you rather have a MCO tram or would you rather have a Disney Wilderness Lodge cabin? If you had to choose, let me know. I'm kind of taking a little poll here. Let me know what you guys think. All right. So Hollywood East, Orange County approves film incentive program to revitalize local film production. Now, we talked about this maybe a month ago. I actually did a whole video on why isn't it that we have more more movies made here? And then 2 or 3 weeks later, this potential thing came out that they were going to vote on it. And then now it's actually moved forward. So $25 million film incentive program aimed at attracting more Hollywood productions to Central Florida over the next 5 years. So starting next year, they're going to allocate $5 million to the program funded by the tourist development tax. And so qualifying films can receive a 20% rebate of up to $1 million if they meet certain criteria, including spending at least $400,000 locally and featuring Orlando or Orange County locations in their films. Now, I was actually going through this whole article, and it was interesting. Apparently, the original state-funded film incentive program stopped in 2016, which isn't that long ago, honestly, 9 years ago. And right when that happened is when Georgia started picking up their film incentive program. So Orange County, using some of the TDT funds, which has been used for so many other things to incentivize more jobs in the area, more investment in our area, and to show off things going on in Orange County, I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, more films in the area, I think is just a cool thing. And there's a whole bunch of other ways. It was like, if you do a movie, you get another incentive. If you do a commercial, you get another incentive. But it really comes down to, are you creating jobs and are you spending money to show off Orange County? All right, we got a couple more things we're going to wrap up for the evening. So Orange County approves to widen Fiquette Road. So a $63 million project will widen the road connecting Horizon West and Windermere. Now, we've talked about in the past that I'm going to try to zoom in here. Let's get rid of my face. Boom. This Reams Road, Summer Lake Park Boulevard, and Fiquette interchange here is rough, especially when you start thinking around like anywhere between 3 and 6:30 p.m. So they're going to have a roundabout here eventually, but this road right here is currently only a 2-lane highway. So $63 million has been approved, and they're starting work like right away. So plans to expand the road have been in discussion since 2026, but they've been delayed, and now that's actually moving forward. So they're going to take it from 2 lanes to 4, and they're it's like kicking off in January. They're saying it's going to take about 2 years to finish, but hopefully this is going to make that entire area a lot more usable, people getting in and out, because that's like, unless you're coming up and around on 429, getting into Horizon West between that 3 and 6:30 is a little rough. All right, so you guys are checking in here. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather have a Wilderness Lodge cabin or a tram from MCO when they get replaced? So far, you guys are team cabin, it appears. But and I would probably agree. It's got a bathroom, it's got a kitchen. It's a little bit more, it's easily accessible. As I'm a little fond of the whole tram, that's for sure. Sam says, I'm definitely Disney cabin, and cool that Orlando is finally trying to attract more filming production. I have a question below. Your other question has not popped through, my friend, but I will look for it. Here we go. From your perspective, how big of an advantage is Orlando's inland location compared to other Florida markets? This is a big one, Sam. I think that the reason why so many people are moving here from the coasts, West Palm, Miami, is because of pricing there, but then also pricing is because of insurance costs and weather and all those other things that are affecting some of those things. I've also thought overpopulation in those areas are driving people up here. Those are probably the 3 biggest reasons why. But we're also seeing Southwest Florida, which is really more so caused on that insurance. They're sick of hurricanes and all that, pushing inland to Orlando as well. Super grateful that we had no hurricanes this year, but really, it's not terrible here when a hurricane rolls through. Like, there's definitely damage that happens, but nowhere close to what happens on the coasts. And so because we're inland, but close enough to enjoy the beaches, but then retreat to safety here in the middle, I think is a big reason why people love being here. Alex says, which do you think is better, Sunbridge or Claremont's Wellness Way? I think, okay, so Sunbridge has a little bit more nature to appreciate. Wellness Way is going to be this master plan community with retail and office, and obviously a lot of things coming to the Olympus project, which are going to be cool for jobs and all that. Sunbridge is just a different vibe in general. Wellness Way currently is easier to get to, and it will continue to get easier to get to, but so will Sunbridge eventually once the new toll roads and everything gets cleared up and moves forward. They're very, very different lifestyles. I think Sunbridge is really trying to push towards this naturehood where you feel like you're one with nature trails and paths around the lakes and all these other kind of things. Wellness Way is kind of pushing towards more lifestyle on the sports. Like they've got the hockey rink and a whole bunch of other things they're trying to develop out that way. And so it really just comes down to lifestyle, like so many things in real estate. I think Sunbridge is already a little bit more expensive than Wellness Way, and so if that has any kind of bearing on what you're looking for, but yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know if one's better than the other. It really just comes down to preference. Alex says, hey, a little off topic, but are there any areas that you're actively investing in? Not this year. I mean, this year we were kind of looking through our portfolio ourselves and deciding, should we cash out and reinvest that into some other areas, or do we just hang on? We decided to hang on, but we are actively looking in some of those tear down areas, or, areas that could be moved into as an investment property and then eventually put into where we build another house. And so I think there are some really cool areas in the downtown corridor that are still really doing very well. We're partnered with a developer builder right now who's doing just that. They've bought, I think, nearly 100 lots around the city. And they're looking at those houses that were built in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And, you know, the ones that need a lot of rehab, they're on the bubble of, do you rehab it and keep it, or do you just tear it down and build something else? And they're tearing down and building them out. So I look at some of those areas of like, where is that happening? And then where would be a good investment for me long-term? And I think downtown is a really good spot for that. I'm talking like, we actually have a whole video on this coming out on Saturday. So Audubon Park, College Park, Soto, and some of those places. And then beyond that, I look at, okay, if you don't want the tear down situation, you don't want to have any renovation in your whole process of investing, where else should you be looking? Well, then I think you look for where the builder incentives are the greatest on the cusp of where you could potentially build and do something really good soon. Meaning like I do think the Wellness Way area is great because builders out there are giving great incentives. And although prices have kind of like, because of incentives, have pulled back, the next move is going to be pushing right into that Claremont area where you're going to look up, and I think prices for rents are going to go up and you're going to do really well. And so I'd be looking at one of those two areas, like where's the land value going up the fastest, or where can I get the greatest deal on a new build that will cash flow? And then you make your decision from there. Frank says, how cool would it be if they opened Universal Studios film industry for millennials, brought back older shows or newer versions of some of the good ones? Actors could film now from LA too. That's true. Nickelodeon Studios, that would be fun. Sam said, great answer. If 2026 proposal to eliminate homestead taxes were to pass, how do you think that would impact home values in Orlando, and how quickly do you think the market would react? I think it would take a little while. I think the other thing is, so if that makes it on the ballot, I think it needs 60% to pass. And here's the thing. I mean, people don't like paying taxes. And so I think it needs 60% to pass. And I do believe that people would vote for it. But then what does it get replaced with? Is it more impact fees on commercial? Is it just higher taxes on commercial? There's a lot of unanswered questions there. Is it a sales tax? There's a lot of things. But what happens to affordability for those kind of things? I think people do start looking at Florida and saying, hey, if I could save $5, $10, $15, $20,000 in taxes, now affordability, you know, you got New York, DC, other places, we'll be looking at that. And then how long will that affordable last, if that makes sense? And so if affordability is important to you, I don't know that it lasts super long after that. But for those people that are homeowners that have in their own homestead property and now don't have to pay tax on the home that they own outright, hopefully that gives them cash flow into the future. But I don't know, man, there's so many unanswered things with that whole elimination of tax. Digital says, will Universal buy the Lockheed Martin parcel to expand Epic? I don't know that Lockheed's looking to sell, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But did you guys hear? I mean, we talked about this not too long ago. Epic did put in a 150,000 square foot expansion to their park. Most people believe that is going to be in the Harry Potter area, and there's a perfect spot for it. And so that would most likely be the next expansion. But like, would another portal open somewhere and then hopefully be something really cool? Yeah, here's hoping. All right, guys. I so appreciate you hanging out with me, all of you. And if you watch the replay, let us know in the comments below what story spoke to you the most and where you're hanging out thanks for Thanksgiving. For those of you in the United States, I hope you have an incredible Thanksgiving wherever you're celebrating that at. And we'll be back the following week, but hope you guys have an amazing weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.